Hi everyone, γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make what's known in Greek as Γλυκό ψυγείου με μπισκότα. Basically that translates to a sweet refrigerator cake with biscuits. But it's more than that. It's a no-bake cake that's made with cookies and cream, and it's so easy to make because you don't have to heat up your house and you don't have to make any cake layers in the oven. It's perfect for the summertime when you don't want to heat up your house. And I'm using Biscoff cookies to make this cake, but you can use your favorite cookies. It's up to you. I'll put all of the options that I can think of on the blog post. This cake is delicious and I know you're gonna love it. Let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna begin by making the cream. In a saucepan, go ahead and add 4 cups or 950 milliliters of whole milk and half of the sugar. Total, we're gonna be using 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. That's 375 grams. If that's too sweet for you, you can definitely reduce it and make it less sweet. That's not a problem at all. Just add half of the sugar into the milk and let it cook over medium heat until we prepare the eggs and the remaining ingredients. So in the same pitcher that I measured the milk out, because we don't want to dirty any more things than we need to, I'm just going to separate 8 eggs. We just need the yolks for this recipe. So I'll save the egg whites for something else like meringues or something like that. I will not be making egg white omelets, but you can add it to different things. So I'll just set that aside. We're going to use 8 egg yolks for this, half a cup of heavy whipping cream, and half a cup or 80 grams of cornstarch, and the remaining sugar. Just whisk that all together until it's nice and smooth. Once the milk almost comes to a boil, when it's steaming hot, you can take it off of the heat. You don't have to stir it. That sugar at the bottom of the pot keeps the milk from burning. So just leave it just like that and carefully pour the steaming hot milk into the egg mixture while you're whisking. This is going to temper the eggs and keep them from curdling. And now we're going to return the whole mixture back to the saucepan and cook it over medium heat while you're constantly whisking this until it begins to thicken. As soon as you see the first bubbles coming up where it begins to boil, immediately turn the heat off. You don't want this to thicken up too much, otherwise it won't be smooth and creamy. You don't want it to be too thick and gelatinous. So at this point, turn the heat off and we're going to add 4 ounces of unsalted butter. That's 113 grams. Make sure the butter is nice and cold and cut it into pieces. Put it into the milk with about 3 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Whisk it all up and set it aside. We don't want this to cool down too much. This is going to go into the dessert nice and hot. It's going to help those cookies soften up even more. So I'm using Biscoff cookies. I love them. They have a cinnamon flavor to them, but you can use your favorite cookies to do this. We're going to need a little bit of milk just to soften them up a little bit. If you like the cookies a little bit crunchier, skip the milk because they will soften anyway from the steam of the cream. And as they sit under the cream, they're just going to soften. So it's up to you. If you like them a little bit softer, I like to dip them in milk just for a few seconds and then lay an even layer into a 9 by 13 inch baking pan. That's the size that we're using today. If you want to do 2 layers, that's also really delicious. I should have done 2 layers, but I'm doing 1 layer today. 2 layers are even better. Then we're going to take half of that cream that's still hot and pour it over the cookies. Spread the cream out evenly in 1 even layer. And then we're going to do the same thing, another layer of cookies. You can dip them in the milk or not. It's completely up to you. And you can do 1 layer of cookies or 2 layer of cookies. I'm going to leave that up to you too. And then pour the remaining cream over the cookies, smooth it out, and I like to cover it with plastic wrap so it doesn't form a skin. This is going to go either in the refrigerator for about 4 or 5 hours or overnight, or if you want to shorten the cooling time, you can put it in the freezer for 2 hours. It's up to you. While it's cooling, you can just grind up the remaining cookies. I use 2 packs of these Biscoff cookies. Each pack is about 250 grams. So I like to pulse these in the food processor until they look just like crumbs, just like this, and put them in a bowl. These are going to be sprinkled over the dessert later on. If you want a little bit of a more richer dessert, they do make Biscoff butter. I don't have it today, but you can just melt that and pour it over the dessert once it cools. I like it better with just the cookie crumbs on top, but I'll leave it up to you. Okay, so pudding and custard things are my favorite dessert, so it's time for the taste test. And when you slice into it, it's just so creamy and smooth. It's the perfect dessert. So good. I love that the Biscoff cookies melt in your mouth. If you like them a little bit crispier, like I said when we were doing the process, you don't have to soak them in milk. They're going to still soften up from the steam of the custard because when we're pouring it on top, it's still nice and hot. And as it sits in the refrigerator, all of that moisture in it will be absorbed by the cookies, but they'll still be a little bit crispier. And next time I make this, I'm definitely doing a double layer of cookies. So I do suggest that you double up on the cookies. Just make sure you get that big box if you have Costco nearby. My Costco carries it, so I love it. I would end up using that whole box for this cake. It's so good. It's so easy to make, like I just showed you. You can just put it together in like under an hour, and you'll have a delicious dessert to bring to your next barbecue or dinner party, or to serve it to your guests or to your family on a special night. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. If you want me to make more versions of cakes like this or desserts like this, I have pistachio in mind, a chocolate version in mind. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.